truth will come when the truth comes, and that's why, we've waited 12 years to start talking about what we believe is what should actually be the facts and what should be, the truth into this world. That's all we have as humans.
Yeah.
Is the truth.
What's going on, everybody? My name's Danny Ferrari.
My name's Parker Ament.
We are Excellent Sound, and today we are here on the Excellent Show with a very, very special guest. Some people that are near and dear to my heart, personally, and I know to yours.
Mine too.
Yes.
Mine too.
These guys are, I would say, the princes of EDM.
Oh, yes. I like that.
Princes of EDM. Major hits. Fucking worked with Martin Garrix.
Uh-huh.
Been signed to Spinnin Records.
Yep.
Invented Big Room.
Wait, what's that? What's that?
Big Room?
I'm just kidding.
Okay. Also, too, some really, really actual close friends of ours.
Yes.
Dubs, boys, thank you for being here. For the first time ever, you guys have never done a podcast, right?
Thank you. No.
This is the biggest one. And
This
the
is the
biggest
right.
and the best, the most important.
We love you guys. You guys know that. We got so much love for you guys.
Thanks for
you
having
guys,
us here today.
For the people that don't know, I met you guys years ago when I was working at Guitar Center.
I think you met Alex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you were there too.
Was I?
Yeah, you were a little stony though.
I was back then. I was a little.
But I was
green.
talking more to Alex. So there was a little bit more of that. So
That must have been literally early.
2014.
Yeah.
you guys were at your.
We
meteoric
were already
rise.
at that point. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, we moved to LA March of 2013.
Mm-hmm.
So by the time we did that run at Guitar Center, we finally had money.
Yeah.
We moved
You
into
guys
our
had a
first
dope
house.
ass house.
Yeah,
Sick.
you guys
Up
were
Laurel
also
Canyon.
you guys were on
came
billboards.
back and helped us
Yeah.
unpack.
Exactly.
I remember
That's
that.
So that's like the best employees I've ever.
So
even heard
the
of.
boss, it was like I went to my boss. I was like, "Hey, bro, these guys are they're big DJs, and I'm a huge fan. I gotta go help them." And he's like,
Even if he said no, you would have been like,
well,
sorry,
no, he
buddy.
was like, he's like, "We'll just come right back." And I was like, "Yeah, totally." And I was just there, trying to connect. And I was like, "Yo, we'll make some beats and shit, And you guys were super nice and cool. And I remember Alex telling me "Hey, bro, are you on Twitter?" And I was like, "No." You're like, "You need to be on Twitter." And you were like, "If you want to do this shit," and you were giving me a lot of advice about how to actually make it in music production. And then my boss called me. He's like, "Where the fuck are you?" And I was like, "Bro, I'm on my way." But I was literally I think
Took
I
a
spent
detour. Just
I was
fuck
definitely
it.
hanging out way longer than I needed to for you guys
so
too. But you
funny.
guys were
But
so
we
nice.
We probably didn't even know how lit you actually were.
Well, no, I don't think But that's what I think is funny.
You
is
didn't sell yourself hard enough. You
But
should have
I-
been
I wasn't though.
That's the cool part about it is that you were
But
just
the full circle moment was later.
Dude.
With you hitting us up and being like, "Yo, I like what you guys do," and I was like, "Bro, you have no idea. You guys are huge influences."
Such
on
a
us."
funny story.
Yeah, and for me, that was so cool because when I went to Icon and I did production stuff, they're write down some of your goals, and one of them was to work with you guys in the studio. I don't know if I told you guys
Precious.
that.
I didn't even know that.
Precious.
That's amazing.
That's precious.
That's amazing.
Fanboy.
No,
Yeah,
man,
and
it's a really funny story. I mean, yeah, I think I was just scrolling on Instagram one day, I don't know, was it 3 years ago? I don't even know, probably 3 years ago.
it was right before COVID.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah,
No, it was longer than 3 years
Yeah,
ago.
that's
yeah,
5 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
that's crazy.
Yeah, that's insane.
That's
Yeah.
insane. COVID was just a write off of
Mm-hmm.
2 years of just flew by.
Exactly.
No, but it was
What an
just a
epic
small
start
world.
to the pod though. The
Full
full
circle.
circle moment and honestly, heart to heart, you guys have been doing so just amazing. And
Thank you, bro.
you guys
I don't even
have-
see any other what other podcasts are there that I mean, is it just because I follow EDM and DJ kind of stuff that
I don't
see
know.
all your guys' stuff, or is it just because you guys are top?
I think there's a weird thing with EDM and podcasts. There nobody really started one. None of them took off really.
The idea of it
But-
is really strong, but I don't think anyone fully conquered it. And you guys hit this window that it's now with the guests that you guys have on and the way that it's actually stories and a good pod for meets actual music production knowledge. It's hitting in a really unique way, which is
What's
thank you guys,
What's better
yeah.
than just seeing people that you listen to, or just people in general giving tips and showing their sessions? Because
Yeah, man.
it doesn't matter how far into your career or how beginner or advanced you are, you're always just what does that guy do?
Yeah.
Oh, that's what he.
Yeah, and
You
people,
wanna know.
It is what it is. Like,
everybody's been open to like show sessions and songs and like talk about secrets and stuff, and like I've never seen that on another pod.
I mean, it's dope. Like having being at a time now where we can actually share full transparency. I feel like 10, 11, 12 years ago, it was like keeping these secrets were so important. But now like this transparency is like showing like a lot of, epic knowledge, as well as just like some of the most historic moments in electronic music.
Yeah.
Which is,
I mean, you guys have been around for a long time. And you're still young as fuck.
We're
too.
just blessed to be sitting here, man. In the end, we're just two brothers that grew up essentially from the age of 5 in like the sticks, bro. Like an hour north of Toronto, Ontario, Canada, on like essentially somewhat of a farm, like in the country. Just like the closest city, not even the town, was like 15,000 people, and where we lived it was like, I don't know, 500. Like. And now we're just sitting in LA talking to you guys and like have done some crazy shit.
I mean, can you guys like talk about like, because like for me, when I think about like when I started hearing about dubs and like Tsunami, it feel like it was just like this rocket ship. Like,
yeah.
And I don't know if it was like, because I know you guys personally, so I know a little bit more about your story, but I think for the people too, like did you guys just like fucking blow up overnight? Like, what the fuck happened?
I mean,
it seems like that.
It does always seem like that, I feel like, but the journey, like, it's been such a wild journey, even just bringing it back to like us starting music, like we picked up instruments at like 13, 14 years old and had like punk bands.
A little younger. I did piano lessons. Like every mom's like, you gotta do piano lessons. It's good for your brain or something, like.
Yeah.
So, but it's just like you don't care when you're 6 years old,
right?
On some piano stuff. Subliminally, it probably helps you, but like, I probably got a guitar when I was like 11 years old. So compared to some people, maybe a little later, but just growing up where we did, there wasn't really much to do other than just jam, and since we were just brothers.
Were you guys playing like reggae and stuff?
It started as
reggae,
a punk band.
Ska.
It was us two and 2 other brothers.
Oh wow!
And they live like 5-10 minutes down the road, and we would just like meet up after school and start like different projects and bands.
We
and
pretty much learned our instruments all together.
Yeah,
and we were like,
Chris was the drummer. I was playing guitar and like doing vocals, and like we had a singer and then a bass player. Over the span of like the few years after that, the progression of the music, it's like, we learned punk, and then we started to kind of like outgrow that, and then we learned like, reggae and ska, and then we started like outgrow that, and then we started like actually learning like more like classical or like rock or jazz stuff, and just like
acoustic. Alex was doing acoustic.
I started some like
stuff.
acoustic projects.
Tried
with
to ditch
other guys.
me for a little bit.
Did solo.
And then they're like,
grudge
we actually need a drummer. I was like, all right. Had dreads. I was just ready.
We just had so much fun, just like kind of leveling ourselves up as like musicians and learning our instruments, and it was about when we were. I was still in high school, and Chris he got a soccer scholarship. He ended up going to school as a soccer player.
Oh, man.
Yeah, and that's when he started learning how to produce, and that's kind of like the only way we kind of kept in touch with each other. It was like, what are you working on at home? And I was like, oh, I'm just like still writing some stuff on the guitar and some top lines and stuff.
And at the time, the stuff that was coming in was like Sexy Bitch, David Guetta, LMFAO. It was kind of like that more... It was like mainstream dance, Euro kind of vibes.
Yeah.
And we were doing this like Sublime 311 kind of mainstream reggae rock kind of stuff, because we're like, dude, like we've been driving around Canada getting like $100, $200 for a show. Like if we want to do music, we got to do something that we like, but something that's a little bit more mainstream that we can like get on the radio. Mm-hmm. So that's the kind of the avenue we went. And then we're doing that kind of stuff. And my buddy, like, he showed me some of more of that kind of vibe. Like, it was mainstream, but it was still, like, kind of fresh. And being, like, a drummer and in punk reggae, I was like, dude, this guy's not even playing the drums. Like, what is this? Like, this guy sold his soul, dude. Like, I was just so, like, underground punk that... But then, like, I started hearing this stuff, and I'm like, I don't know. Like, I heard some, like, old show tech hardstyle stuff, and I'm like, this electronic stuff. So it's like, I don't know. I like this stuff. And then we started remixing our, like, reggae songs. I'd be like,
we take our vocals off them and start remixing
like some of the stems and just like remix it, and it was like whatever, like dubstep was kind of in. We're doing some kind of dubby vibes, like Rusko kind of like really like wubby kind
Keep
of
in
like
mind, like
LFO.
electronic music hasn't even fully broken in America yet. Like,
Yeah.
it was more of just like a bit of the mainstream crossover music that was starting to hit. And let's say that was 2010, 2011.
Yeah.
But start digging into like the more European scene, and like I started just, I don't know, I don't remember how I would find people, but I would just make friends with like European people, like Dutch people.
Talk to Dutch
and, like,
people.
Yeah, my buddy was like, I met this guy, his name was DJ Hoodie. He's still my friend to this day, and he's like, have you heard of Beatport? I was like, no, what the fuck is Beatport? He's like, you don't know Beatport? And I was like, no, dude. Like, so then I'm just like, I'm scouring Beatport, and I'm just looking, I'm just seeing Spinnin Records. I'm like, who the fuck is Spinnin Records? So then, like, we had a deal at that, like, so quick thing, at my school, small university, Northern Ontario, my last year of school, this, like, Much Music, which is like MTV of Canada, they're doing like this audition to find a new band to be on, like pretty much sell out and be the biggest radio, like rip them off and like, you know what I mean? And so I get us on the show. We end up winning the show.
Wow.
Yeah, we got it was like a showcase performance in front of Universal Records, two of the biggest agents, like Nelly Furtado's managers, like all these people were in the
Canadian
were
scene,
in the
big ups.
They were like the biggest of the industry execs at this showcase to see if you win the show. We won the showcase and ended up getting the show, and that was on MTV.
There's got to be video content of this somewhere, right?
You know
we
what?
shot like 2-3 episodes.
We shot a few episodes, but it just wasn't our cup of tea. You know what we did?
Wow, what?
We didn't show up to set. We finished. we
We're
finished.
Like, no, this is
we're like, this is
not
kind of
for
whack.
us.
Like,
this is how we ruin our career before it even have
yes,
a
we
career.
finished an EP and we hit the ground running. And to be honest, we started playing shows, just trying to like, you know, get gas money to like get us there and back. And through that, over the next 6 months, we ended up getting one of the best agents in Canada, and we got a deal with Universal. So like after this whole moment in our career, like we were actually already starting to catch wind in Canada. We were still nobodies in the world.
For the band, not
It
the
was like-
electronic stuff.
No,
for
it was EDM, but like in a band. So I converted my drum set. I put mesh heads, and I had like a Roland TD3 a brain.
That's
And-
so
and
far
just-
ahead.
Yeah, it was a show. Like
Yeah.
the triggers back then, the
and I
technology.
was singing live the whole set.
Singing live.
Oh
we had a
my
DJ. We had like a keys
I feel like
player.
nobody knows this shit about you guys.
Dude, I'm gonna send you videos after.
Yeah,
There's some
Dude,
crazy
yeah.
footage.
There's
and,
like one person at the show.
but this is
It's a
the
big
crazy
festival, but
this
it's
is
one
the crazy segue of it is like we already went through so much of a roller coaster from our first band all the way up to this point.
Yeah.
I get to college. 2 weeks into college, we get a record deal with Universal. So I drop out of school without telling my parents.
Fuck yeah.
And
He's
our
just living
agent-
in res. He's like, don't tell them.
I'm like, I'm not gonna go to school. We're gonna be in the studio like most of the week, and hopefully, you know, our agent Colin Lewis, who's like a huge G at Live Nation now, he started getting us on like crazy shows. You know, we're opening for LMFAO. We're playing Festival d'Été before. In a Stevie Wonder slot before LMFAO in front of
the
100,000
artists
people.
last minute like hurt themselves and like
Yeah.
So
Wow.
we had these like
Management
quick
hooked
little
us up.
moments to like prove what our sound was, what we were gonna be, and we were just like going with it as it came.
And you guys were separated, right? You were going to a different school?
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
I was up north, like 3 hours from Toronto.
He was literally driving every 2-3 days, like 4 or 5
You
hours.
stayed in school.
every weekend. I would drive and be in the studio.
Wow.
Yeah, we were sleeping on floors. He was driving nonstop, sleeping in his car. I was sleeping like anywhere, any way that we could progress what we were doing. We just took the chance, and you know, even
our
though
backs are fucked just from sleeping on like the worst shit.
even
Yeah.
though
And if
you know,
you don't
like,
do that, like I don't know how far you can make it.
If you haven't fucking slept in a
like-
van.
Yeah, like
Oh, man.
vans, floors, like,
fans are easy.
There's something to say about that. I mean, you guys had the foresight of where
Yeah.
you were gonna be, what you're gonna do, and you canceled that like MTV show
That's
like
crazy
right
to me,
before it was
bro.
anything.
Yeah, I
you
mean,
knew.
How the fuck did you guys know to do that?
It was just they were asking, like, instead of just talking about
Turned
more than
to
music,
reality
it
for
was
us.
like teenage band mom edition. Like, what are your parents? Are they separate? It's
And
like,
yeah,
we're-
but you
and
guys
we're-
had enough like
Yeah, because
inside to be like,
we-
that's not
we,
us.
we
Like, that's
worked too
crazy.
hard to just sell out.
We were
That's so
already like it was already like enough transitioning from being like a live band to a live electronic band. And then the way this segues is actually pretty interesting. This is Misu, by the way.
And we kind of knew, like, hey, like, we're kind of on to some
Oh, so you
shit
guys had a
here.
little bit of confidence of like,
yeah,
hey,
we're
like we
dude,
don't
like,
necessarily
we just won the battle of the bands, dude.
right.
Like,
Okay, so you guys had enough.
like everyone
Yeah.
was
A
up there
little bit,
singing
for
like
sure.
Kumbaya, and then we're up there like coming out with some fresh electronic, like as a band. Like the judges, like all the higher ups, they were sleeping, getting blasted. Everyone else on the show, and then we come on, they're just like, oh shit, like
right.
okay,
So
That's
you guys
sick.
knew that you had something.
yeah,
of
we were
value. You
chill,
weren't
but we're like, dude, like, oh, yeah, she knows too.
Go. Yeah, I mean, listen, we knew we weren't the most talented, but we had heart and we knew we were doing something new and fresh, especially in the distance of, where we were living and where we were traveling to in Canada. We were
Yeah.
starting to play shows. We were getting our chops for our live performance down. We were getting better in the studio. Chris was learning Ableton since, 19 years old and getting his chops better.
We got out of our deal with Universal. Long story. Ended up had the deal, got out of the deal. Some sketchy shit
Yeah,
happened.
we had no manager. We signed the whole
You
deal.
did a 360 deal.
We did a
Yeah.
360
we thought,
deal.
We thought we were doing a good job because we trusted our lawyer, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
the lawyers work with the labels because that's like that's an
Especially in
that's
Canada.
an ongoing relationship.
So long story short, like the craziest thing that will segue into like later in this podcast is that we've basically been through the craziest roller coaster of a career, and we've just always had this like higher power or energy saving us.
Yeah. If you're a producer and you're not using Project File remakes to help you get better, what are you doing? Remakes and Project Files are a great way for producers to hone their skills in song structure, sound design, and mixing and mastering. I know it's helped us out a ton and continues to sharpen our skills every single day. So if you're looking for the most accurate remake project files and a ton of exclusive presets and sounds, then you gotta check out our Patreon. We upload a ton of new content every single month for producers. From custom unreleased sounds and producer interviews to project files, serum presets, and racks. And don't forget, every single month you can post your track for feedback. When you join our Patreon, you get access to our entire catalog of sounds since 2018. That's 6 years worth of content, and you get to jump right into it. Go check out the link in the description and find the tier that best suits you. Everything we get from our Patreon, we reinvest back into to get better guests and a lot more tutorials and content for you guys. Thanks for your support, and let's jump back into the video.
And the craziest part, being from such a small country like Canada, is that they give government grants to the musicians there. And the way we got out of the deal is that we found out that they were actually pocketing government grants and double charging us back. Whoa. So we signed this deal.
This is Universal Canada.
This is Universal Canada through some sub-label stuff going on as well. And to be completely honest, it was a whole different time back then. The government grants were going crazy. They were giving people $25,000, $50,000, $100,000 like nothing.
So it was like almost like
you have to
embezzlement
know
type
the
of shit.
people.
Yeah.
Anyone could apply for it, but like good luck.
Yeah.
So
know,
we
unless you
did
know.
all of this with just us two. Next thing you know, I get a message on Facebook, and it's this guy Josh Herman, and he's like, "Hey, I really like what you guys are doing. We should meet up." He's in Toronto, so I drive to his house, and fast forward a week or two later, we fly to LA to meet his dad, who's like a huge boss at Live Nation,
Yeah.
and they become our managers.
Shout out Josh.
And they've
Wow,
been our
Josh
managers.
has been there for a long time.
Since day
like,
one.
we were kind of
Wow.
on the brink because like they weren't letting us release anything. It was tension was now like we know they're not our friends. We're
Yeah.
catching on that something is up there. Like, yeah, we just got a video grant for 40,000. Then the next week they'd be like, oh yeah, no, it was 5,000. And we're like, what?
This weird stuff was happening. You
Yeah.
can just kind of feel it. That was like, fast forward 13, 14, 15 years now. the instincts we have as like just people and like who we can talk to, and like this
you
taught
guys
us
are very
so
careful.
much.
While we're still in the deal with them, I'm on the computer talking to my European homies. They're telling me the good labels. So I hit up Spinning. I hit up the label. I'm like,
You
hey.
just went for it.
I sent
Yeah.
them the EP. They're like, yeah, it's good.
Das
Yeah. And they're just like, yeah, this is good stuff. Like, are you guys signed to a label? I'm like, yeah, like we're in a deal with Universal. They're like, that's a shame. Let us know when you guys get out of the deal. So then all this stuff happens. This whole debacle. All the government grant money is public knowledge in Canada. We didn't know that because we tell Josh when he comes our manager, we're like, dude, like, I think they're stealing our money. He's like, okay, you guys signed a fuck up deal. That's 100%. But to think that they're stealing your grant money is delusional. We're like, I don't know, man. He's like, well, it's public information. Let's call them. Call them up. Like, hey, this is Chris and Alex Vandenhoof from DVBBS. We want to know how much money we received from the government of Canada. You have received $140,000. And like, we saw like 10,000 of that. So then it's a whole, we get Steve, blah, blah, blah. He hits the president of Universal. He's like, okay, my son's the manager now. You've done some crazy shit. If you don't, I'll blow this up.
You got the Live Nation guy. Be like, yo, bro.
Guess what? Steve and Josh stepped into our lives as managers, and they basically tore that whole contract up, and we had a whole new fresh start.
That's
We
amazing.
played the
Moved to
show in
LA.
Toronto and moved to LA 5-6 days
Hit
later.
up Spinning.
We're out.
I said, yo, we're out.
We got some
He
music.
said, what do you have to show us? We send them Gold Skies.
Wow.
Send them Gold Skies.
That was the first song we
That was
wrote
the
at our
first-
house.
Yep.
No way.
Send them Gold Skies. They're like,
Dude.
we like
I
this.
have the original demo on my phone.
We're gonna.
Oh, that's
Wait,
so
so you guys
sick.
actually write music?
Yeah.
Dude,
dude.
Wait,
No,
what?
Is that an excellent exclusive right now?
Yeah, dude.
So Spinning is like, okay, we're gonna send this around to some of the bigger artists on the label and see who likes it. They hit us back. They're like, Sander Van Doorn loves this track. Send the stems. Send him the stems. He's working on the track. It's kind of, we're working on new stuff. Write 5, 6, 7 songs, and then we send them Tsunami. At first, they're like, I don't know, guys. We don't think this is it. And we're like, okay. 5 minutes later, they're just like, never mind. Whole office is going crazy.
Yeah, they were
tomorrow.
super hyped on Gold Skies. And
Yeah.
keep in mind at the time, I was singing on all these records too. So
Yeah.
I sing on Gold Skies, and I was writing a lot of stuff that was like Empire of the Sun, MGMT style.
Yeah.
I
It's
knew
very
that
much-
was in
it's
you,
very
dude.
much-
I
Yeah.
knew that was in
We
you.
know that because we worked with them too.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
like,
yeah,
it
true.
totally makes sense when you say it out loud like that.
Yeah, like that was like moving to LA with a new fresh start. We were 2-3 months deep of writing Empire of the Sun, MGMT influence music with big room drops.
Yeah.
Yo.
But
Yeah.
Gold Skies especially was just so the writing process for the lyrics were just so crazy. We got the chords are just looping, and we're just sitting there just like, we're just kind of like, it's like sometimes the first
We were
word,
smoking a lot of weed back then
Yeah, a
too.
lot of
At
weed.
that point, we were smoking.
We ordered a pizza. We're sitting in like this little den. We got a couple homies just chilling, smoking weed. They do rap music. They're just chilling, just vibing, and we're thinking of like just something to spark the writing process. The pizza guy comes. We open the door, and all the blinds were closed. It was like maybe 2 p.m. So it was like really sunny out, but all the blinds were closed. It was dark. Someone opens the door to get the pizza, and the pizza guy's just like, holy shit, it's like a Bob Marley concert in here. And as soon as he opened the door, I just see how much smoke is in the room because it was like dim from the darkness, and the sunlight came in, and all you see is the smoke. And I just go, see the smoke when the sun shines. And he immediately goes, we will forever be faded under golden skies. Captivated
That's
in
how
your
we
cold
literally started
eyes.
the first 2 like writing lyrics of that record. That
Then everything else came really
basically-
fast. The girl did she sang the lyrics, those lyrics. And,
Did you guys credit the
Alicia-
pizza guy or?
Dude, if you see
He
this,
probably got a
like,
nug out of it.
I wonder if he knows. Like, what if that
he
pizza guy
deserves
knows?
at least 10% of that record.
That's so funny.
That's so rad. That's so
Dude.
like
Yeah, that was-
serendipitous. Or,
yeah.
It was just really
symbolic.
It just went from like not a clue to just like pff,
It was just there.
just written.
Did any of the demo vocals make it in the background of the original
No,
song?
no, like that's
the
that's
whole
all.
it's
That's the original
that's
vocals.
the original ended up on the
No way.
Yeah, it's like
yeah,
that's
listen to this.
Just like fucking our buddy Yofre's in the back, like spoons are fucking like dangling, he's making craft dinner.
Such a good song, dude.
and then we get to this part.
And that's you in the background.
That's me singing this part right here.
Super MGMT too, influence you can hear.
But wait till you hear the original drop.
I mean, it needs work.
This is before Xander and Martin.
Yeah.
This
okay.
is before Sander and Martin. This is when we were doing straight Empire and big room drops.
Okay, yeah.
So that, like, you know,
It would've
obviously
gone off.
It
Yeah,
needed work.
but it's
it
like the
actually
epic
did
side,
go
right?
off live.
Yeah.
We played it live in New York, and it went off crazy. But you know, that was the sound that we were just like passionate about at the time. You know, and to be completely honest, no one in North America was like doing this big room sound.
Yeah.
It was
And not
something
many
that
people in the world. I remember when we were still doing, before we actually were DJing and still doing the electronic band thing.
Yeah.
We opened up for Tiesto and Porter Robinson in like London, Ontario, which is at a massive like stadium. Opened up and Tiesto dropped Epic by Sandro Silva, which I didn't know the name of the song. And I was like Shazam didn't really exist back
Right.
then.
he spent 6 months
I was
trying
like-
to find
I was
this
like-
song.
I was like 4 months later in Cabo Wabo, just getting blasted for spring break.
Yeah.
And I just hear the DJ drop it. I run over to him, I'm like, what's the name of that
Oh
song?
my
Yeah.
gosh.
You knew.
Dude, people don't understand like how hard it was to find like IDs or tracks
Dude,
back then
I was-
without
It was
Shazam.
so hard, but on top of that, it was like
This is before that shit was popular.
there
too.
was like a lot of the music that people were kind of like replicating was stuff they were kind of only hearing on the radio or especially in,
shows.
you know, at shows and
Yeah.
and this was so early on still. This is 2011, 2012. So when he finally heard the song and figured out what it was, that was kind of like and all credit to that is like that was the blueprint of where we actually started, you know, this new like path of what dubs is going to be.
So you're telling me so did Spinnin, because Gold Skies came out after Tsunami, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
but Spinnin heard Gold Skies first.
And they're like, this is sick. We got some guys we want
Correct.
to put on it.
Yeah.
And then you're like, also we have this. And then they're like, all right, was there a strategy behind that? Like, let's put out this first and then let's move into Gold Skies?
No, it kind of all happened in this like really interesting chapter of our lives where I was like so fresh to moving to LA that I was like, I'm gonna take every moment to actually like build the way we need to build. And I remember I counted. I went out 65 nights in a row.
Damn.
I was just chilling, making beats. I'd be like super burnt out by like 7 p.m. Have a nap.
I'm
Alex
like
was-
getting ready
Alex
at
was
like
a little- I don't know
10:30,
how he did
11
it,
with
but-
all the broskies in the house, and we're
Yeah.
just like, all right, like where to go tonight, you know? And at that point, we went out to Supper Club,
Oh,
Nice.
which I'm pretty sure is right around the corner from here at the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
So we went out to Supper Club and we met Borgeous.
Oh, that's right, because he
Alex
was a
met- yeah.
promoter, right?
Borgeous was a promoter
Yeah.
That's
at
right.
Supper Club, and he came up to me. He's like, "Hey, like I know what you guys do. Like you're dubs, right?" Because we were starting to play shows. We were actually starting some tours with Carnage, Gordo.
Yeah.
So we were doing shows across America. So he came up to us. He's like, "Oh, dude, like you guys are dubs. Like I'd love to like get in the studio with you guys, or I'd love to like do a song with you." So I gave him my number, and the next day, he comes over to the house early in the morning, and we're all still passed out. He waited in the living room for us to wake up.
He didn't try to wake you up or anything.
No, he's mad chill like that. But he waited in the living room. We woke up, and we're like, you know, at this point we're like kind of feeling ourselves with the sound we got going on. You know, it's like we're doing our own vocals on some stuff that we know is gonna fuck crowds up.
Yeah.
So when he showed me some of the stuff that he was working on, we were like, that's cool. This is what we're working on. And right then he knew like, oh shit, like these guys have like a unique thing going on. And it was like a few days later where he was like, hey, bro, like, let's get in the studio and like make an idea and actually do a record together. And at the time, we didn't know this, but he was roommates with Niles.
Oh, they
okay.
were roommates.
Yeah. So Borgeous and Niles were roommates. And he was the Cataracts at the time.
Yeah.
And he was helping the Borgeous project on the production side. So,
Which we didn't know.
which we didn't
Right,
know.
didn't care.
Yeah.
When we went over to go hang out at their spot, we're like, dude, fuck yeah. Like, we fuck with the Cataracts and we fuck with Borgeous, and we're starting to work on a record. And they presented like a little bit of like a stem of the body of what today is Tsunami. It was called Sparta.
Yeah.
It was called Sparta, and it was, you know, there were some body parts of that record in it, but, you know, there was a lot that was lacking from it. And to us, like, that was like something that we've never experienced before. Is like, not only are we working with like someone that's super fucking dope who already has hits under his belt,
Yep.
but we're like collaborating all together in this like session where it feels fresh. It feels like something is happening. Like, you have this feeling inside you, right?
Yeah.
We end up getting the demo and sending it to Spinnin like a week later, and they were just like, all hype was on Gold Skies.
Yeah.
And they completely shifted that focus
Ah.
to Tsunami, and they're like, listen,
After the first email, because the first A&R was like, sorry guys, like Gold
Right.
Skies is still the main priority.
yeah, they actually turned it down.
Yeah.
They actually turned down
And
Tsunami
then
at
like
first.
someone, all the rest of the studio was like the office, because the Spinning guys, their office was in a house, so there were probably the main A&R, I think probably Jorn was like, I don't know guys, and then everyone else was like, dude, like, this is fucking crazy. And then like he's like, never mind, I'm fucking I fucked up.
You're
Yeah,
fired.
But it's the best part about it is that we created something together that changed the course of the electronic music history.
For sure.
And we're fucking proud of that, man. And
Yeah.
there's been so many stories along the way that have, you know, we've read so much funny shit along the way, and we kind of laugh at a lot of the stories we see because everyone just thinks they know what they know, but like,
Yeah.
we lived this in
You were there.
real time. We were there.
Yeah.
And to be completely honest, when this all went down, we had such a great relationship, and there's still no bad blood whatsoever. It's all love, and we have a lot of respect, and we inspire from fucking really talented people.
Yeah.
We actually ended up bringing Borgeous to our manager, and we co-managed Borgeous.
Oh, that's so cool.
So we kind of had like a whole thing going on where, you know, Borgeous was, you know, performing, and Niles was working on music, and we were working on music, and my manager was co-managing and getting him, like, you know, he created him into a big deal.
Yeah.
At the time, you know.
I mean, Spinnin picked him up too, didn't he? I mean, Spinnin was doing a
Yeah.
bunch of shit for Borgeous and for Niles too,
Yeah.
for Cashmere.
Well, that
That
came
made a
later
lot
on.
of your guys'
Yeah.
careers.
Because Cashmere didn't exist at the time.
Right.
If Niles said, hey, dude, I have a project called Cashmere, and I want to be on the record too, we'd have been like,
Right.
fuck yeah, dude.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
all love, bro. It was
Yeah.
like, it wasn't like, like, it was.
I think it's really funny, and just because I know you guys too, because I obviously know what you guys are talking about, and I think most people do too. But one thing I got to say, like, if that was me, if I was in your guys' position, I would be so fucking pissed off. And I feel like you guys have not ever said anything like, oh yeah, like not
Because-
mad at them, but just to people
No.
saying like, oh, they didn't fucking do this, or this person did that.
It's just funny, man, because we're just.
I would be
we
so
were just so,
butthurt.
we were just
Yeah.
so like.
No, for sure.
We just worked so hard. We toured so hard that we were tired, dude. When we'd come back to LA after like a Euro fucking Asia run for 3 weeks, the last thing we wanted to do was record content.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna sleep, and then when I wake up and I feel not tired, I'm gonna start making beats, and I'm just gonna fucking fold up, and that's it.
I think
you
when
know,
you're
like-
also so confident in what you do as a person or as a musician, what you read, what you see, what these people want to talk about, it doesn't mean shit to us. After the first few things that, you know, that ever, like, you know, backlash on blogs or something that we first, like, felt early on in our career. After that, we were like, one, it doesn't break us.
Yeah.
Two, we have people talking about us. And three,
You can be anyone to write something on a blog. Realistically.
we're really doing this shit though. Like we're really like in it, like full passion, like full fucking. Our whole career is just like fully taking off.
I remember learning how to DJ in my room, just looking at the wall, and I would just pretend like there was like a massive crowd, and I would just jump in front of my wall, and just play bangers. And
Dude,
then like it's kind of just crazy. Like,
manifested that.
Yeah, dude. I don't know. Maybe I did. Who knows?
No,
Maybe
I
we just
think-
worked so fucking hard. We got lucky. I don't know.
I for sure know that you guys manifested your reality because
He was
just
pretty
the way
good.
that
He-
you guys
He
speak
has
about
a
it.
very powerful brain. Like even like before music, we did soccer and we played the highest level of soccer. And now knowing it, we could have played. If we lived in Europe, we would have been playing professional soccer.
Yeah.
But being a kid in Canada, and it just seems like such a big dream. It seems like impossible.
Yeah.
But in reality, it really isn't. Everyone who's doing it big is just like you.
Yeah.
They just busted their fucking balls.
Yeah.
And just, maybe they have the right body and the right structure and blah, blah, blah. But in the end, they're busting their ass.
For sure. And that person's always going to win over the person that is more talented.
You know how many talented people we when we're doing you got to be in our band, dude. And then they're like, yeah, like I'll come to band practice. And then they're like 3 hours late. And
Right.
then it's like, it's like, bro, like, what are you doing, dude? Like, you're so talented. Like, why don't you just like, oh yeah, I was chilling with my girlfriend. We're like, dude, what?
All I know is everything that's happened up to this point, like good or bad, we wouldn't change anything
Yeah.
at all.
Are you tired of your home recording sounding average? Do you struggle with bad acoustics, cheap gear, and constant distractions killing your creativity? I've been there. Hours of tweaking mixes that still don't hit. 808s that slap in my headphones, then vanish in my car. Clients pull up expecting a vibe, then we're recording next to a laundry basket. Let's be real, your music deserves better. That's why serious producers book Excellent Studios. Our rooms are built for accurate sound. No guesswork, no surprises. When you mix here, what you hear is what you get everywhere. Plus, we've got top-tier gear, treated acoustics, and a space designed for creativity. Whether you're tracking vocals, mixing, or just want to hear your music properly, this is where you do it. And here's the thing, you can't network in your bedroom. At Excellent, you're in the same space as Said the Sky, Dub, GTA, Night Punk, all heavyweight producers and artists. And the truth is, the biggest moves in music happen in the right rooms with the right people. And because I know what it's like to grind from a home studio setup, I'm personally giving first-time bookings 20% off. No long-term commitment, just pull up, work in a real studio, and hear the difference for yourself. Hit the link in the description, book your studio time, and let's make some bangers.
I mean, you guys are also too. I mean, you guys have a big song right now. Like, you guys are getting a little bit more. Like, I mean, you got
Yeah.
Dom Dollar playing it and shit like that. Like,
Yeah, we have a record called Reset that is actually, we've been working on it since last year, and Dom has been playing it since he opened his Tomorrowland set last year with that record, and he played it every set since. So we're just sitting on like a record that has like already been played to hundreds of thousands of people across the planet, and I think it's coming out in a few weeks.
Let's
and then
go.
on top of that, one thing that maybe not everyone knows is that like, most of the week, if we're working on Dubs records, the other half of the week, we're kind of building our catalog and just getting better at our chops as like writers and producers, and and sometimes it might not even have to do with dubs. Like
Yeah,
some
we're
of the
con-
records and some of the features that we're sitting on and working on are just like some of the biggest singers and musicians on this planet, and we're just like in the middle of these records, and whether some get released on their album, or if we get lucky enough and get the blessing and clearance to release it as a dub song, we're just like in the mix of so much cool stuff that you told us that when we were starting out 12 13 years ago, like it would have just blown our minds, because some of these people were already having top 10 hits back then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You speak about like songs and records in a very unique way that I don't hear a lot of people talk about. You talk about it kind of like it's a currency or like a very high level value. You know what I'm saying? And you're thinking about the future of your guys' careers as like, instead of saving money, you're saving records.
Oh,
and
dude.
you have plans for
Stock-
records.
It is the same thing.
Yeah,
It is
but-
money.
At the
But
same
I
time,
think people don't think about that. They're only thinking about their next hit record, or, you know, what am I going to do? What's
We
my...
still do that, but
But
you
I'm
know,
saying
not
in
every
general, it's like
yeah.
you're
No, we
creating
have a list, and every year that list gets updated, and it's basically here's projections for Dub's club underground bangers, and here's projections of like, you know, some crossover records with, you know, super high, maybe unattainable artists that we're trying to get, you know, on this record. And then we have a slew of records that are just like, this is our catalog in the last decade of songs that maybe sound outdated right now, but maybe in 2 years might be fresh again. Maybe it just needs some new drums. Maybe it just, you know, so nothing really goes to waste.
Yeah.
You've told us that when we
Our-
first worked
Our
together.
work to us, if it doesn't come out this year or next year, there's been so many times where like we've pulled an idea or just like, you know, taken a bridge or a drop or something and just kind of revamped
or
it.
meet a new artist and we're like, oh man, like with
Or
it- with-
pitched it.
Yeah, pitched it.
And next thing you know, it's like it's the sound of next year. And that's kind of like how we view our career, you know? Like we definitely do see Dubs separately from what we do as, you know, Chris and Alex as like in the studio.
Something I wanted to also like kind of touch on, something that I think that you guys do very well is, you know, and you were kind of talking about the business side of it too, but like the aesthetics of what Dubs is. And I remember you and I were just talking about this, and I think I mentioned this to you back in the day, but like the way Dubs looks, your logo, the way you guys dress, your photos on Instagram, everything is like very thought out and planned. And I think that you guys deserve credit for that because you take that extra care into like, hey, this is what we look like. You know, you're very particular, like, hey, like I really want to make sure it looks good, which is awesome. You know what I mean? And one thing that I noticed was like the branding of Dubs was like this cool, like off-white sort of looking thing before off-white was a looking thing.
Yeah, it's actually Dubs written in negative space. And I really appreciate you saying all that because, you know, we do take, you know, a lot of pride on like our marketing and at this point we have such a small team, but we're all so passionate about this project still, and I think it's just something that's going to live in us. It's not really something we're trying to make or do. It's just something that's kind of coming out.
Right.
And I think that's why the marketing, and that's why whether it's, you know, the tones or the videos or the photos, they end up just being so real because it's just, you know, sometimes we won't even do anything for months on end. And then we'll just pick something up and go, okay, the new chapter's starting, the new single's coming out, the project's almost done. Who are we in this moment?
Right.
And we film it and we show the world who we are in that moment.
Right.
And if it catches, it catches. If not, it's just true to what we do. And that's just like, you know, going through the process, you know, since that first Universal deal where they're trying to give us marketing teams and they're trying to give us, you know, all these people that have their ideas and they're fighting with each other in the boardroom about what they think we should be. Fast forward years later, we're just like, this is who we are, and that it's just that simple. But for the most part, like, you know, we just keep it pretty true, and like we're proud of like what we've done or who we've been. You know, we're not trying to ever hide anything. You know, we used to have short hair. We look like
Faux hawks.
dudes from
I
Jersey
had dreads
Shore.
and I had a faux hawk.
I had a faux hawk too.
Yeah.
Yep.
That shit was
Fucking
lame,
sick,
bro.
dude.
I had
Faux hawks.
bleached splotches in my faux hawk, dude.
Dude, no, I wasn't allowed to
Solid.
bleach my hair back then.
Oh,
But
dude.
Oh no, I
Dude.
wasn't allowed ever. I've never dyed my hair.
But you were
Yeah.
allowed to have dreads?
Yeah, I was allowed
We
to have
both
dreads.
had dreads.
That was I was a little, when I was
Our-
a kid. I was like, I want to dye my hair. And
Our
Mom was like,
grandfather lived in
Yeah,
Barbados
sick.
though.
Sick.
So we would go to Barbados a lot, and I think that was a lot of the early influence of
Ah,
like,
interesting.
just the
of our
reggae
reggae
and ska
music and
stuff,
stuff. And we just see all these fools like just playing steel drums on the street, and like I think that's like what really like captured us into that sound and into that lifestyle. You know, I mean, we started smoking weed at a really young age and making music at a really young age. And
I never smoked weed in my life.
Yeah, we got to talk about some of those.
Now we're
a couple
sober.
stories. Yeah, I
Yeah.
want to talk about
Years
that.
sober now.
All right, so I know you guys, like, for a long time, I followed your career. I mean, you guys definitely used, I mean, you say you don't anymore, which I didn't know that, but you guys used to smoke a lot of pot. And I've
Yeah.
been in the rooms with you.
Yeah.
Probably the most pot I've ever seen anybody smoke.
I
Thank you,
mean,
thank
And you guys would take breaks. You would get sober, and then
We
you
do
would stop.
everything very intensely.
Yes. So, like, yeah, like, I mean, that was a big part, but now you guys are completely sober.
yeah, I mean, I don't think Chris has had a sip of alcohol or smoked pot in about 5 years.
I haven't drank in like 7 years, and I haven't smoked pot in like 5
Yeah.
years.
I took a 4-year break, and then I started drinking during COVID, and now I'm December was a whole year again.
Wow.
I haven't smoked or drank in over a year. So yeah, we're you know, I don't think we ever had a true problem. Like, I think
Weed a little bit
The-
for me.
which is funny because it got such a bad rep for so many years, and then all of a sudden becomes legal, and it's like, oh yeah, you guys are just like California sober now. But to be completely honest, like, we just had this persona with like the long hair and the brothers, and
Right.
we were like, you know, having a really good time headbanging on stage that people thought we were like really fucked up.
Or just DJs in general. I think people think DJs
Yeah.
in
Yeah,
general are
they
just
just think
fucking drug addicts.
People ask us that all the time. They're like, how fucked up are you all the time when you're DJing and shit? I'm like, to be completely honest, like, we only smoked weed our whole career.
and drank. I mean, but I never had a drinking issue. But
Yeah.
you know, you go to a show, people are like, take a shot. You're about to go rock a stage in front of 30,000 people. You're like, I'm gonna have a couple shots. Then I'm gonna go on stage and I'm gonna milk it a bit. I'm gonna have the bottle in my hand. It's a show.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm still pretty buzzed,
You're trying to
though.
get people to party.
Yeah, I'm
But that's
trying
when
to
you
get
see-
party, and
yeah.
it's like a show. It's like, oh, these guys are fucking different.
Chris was
Like,
method acting harder than I was. That's for sure. Let's just say that. But I mean, yeah, I remember taking, like, you know, just like tiny like micro sips for years on end, and people.
but when he
were
says
like,
that, only booze. Like, I've never done cocaine once in my life.
Neither have
not
I.
even once.
Isn't it so weird? There's no like straight edge culture in DJs,
Just like
like
X
in
on your
EDM.
hand.
I
Like
feel like
nobody's
it's kind
like,
of coming that
it
way.
is,
but
And
nobody like
there's
goes.
a lot of people that
and-
are
no, like
sobering
the
up.
punk scene
Yeah.
was like, oh,
Minor
thank you for the
threat.
kiss.
They don't have X's on their hands and shit.
But
Yeah.
that being said, I mean, with the amount of like weed that you guys were smoking back then, I mean, we're talking about like Tsunami and all that shit. Like,
Yeah.
how much do you guys like really remember from it? Though?
Dude, I
like,
mean,
were you
hard
guys
to forget
stoned
that.
a lot during Tsunami when you guys were doing that? Was that
Yeah.
like a big thing? I mean,
I'll tell you one thing. Like, I've seen so many stories, and I've read so many things, and even just on your podcast with Kashmir talking about his perspective of what happened, it's still to this day hasn't been hit as accurately as it should be.
so what was your like? What's your guys' side of? I mean, you've talked about it a little bit, but I mean, like, let's like get into it. Like, as far as like what your experience was.
I think he's a great dude. He's definitely trying to underplay it, trying to discredit us a little bit. It is what it is. It's a free world. You can do whatever you want. At this point, I don't really think it matters. You know what I mean? In the end, we know what we did,
Right.
and he probably knows what he did, and it's not what he made it seem on the podcast.
yeah,
You know, he was working on Reason. We show up to the studio thinking we're going to work with Borgeous, and they're just homies, producer homies, and he's just like, yeah, come in the studio. I work with Niles,
Right.
who's obviously not Kashmir at the time. He's just Niles from the Cataracts.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no ego.
Right.
For the record, like, going back to the sound of where we were at with Gold Skies, one of the biggest things that I hold close to us is that we were on a tip, a sound, something that was about to shift the industry harder than anyone could even imagine. That was that big room sound. That was where we were headed. That was something that, as in good faith as collaborators, we showed them and said, this is where we're at.
I think he
I
did
pulled
mention
you-
something about the kick, saying that you guys were like, "Hey, we need this like big room kick."
Well,
was more-
this
it
is
was
the
more than
sound.
that.
This
It
is
was-
the sound that you can see here. The Cataracts in Borgeous, 12 years ago, around the same time as this era. This is the music they were releasing.
Super like Wolfgang electro.
Wolfgang Gardner, electro. It sounds like the end of the Cataracts' career. They were playing, you know, more dance records that were in that, you know, Dev, Dancing in the Dark, kind of
LMFAO,
LMFAO, because
yeah.
they were on those tours.
Right.
Yeah.
We were actually opening for shows for LMFAO, and the Cataracts were on some of those shows as just openers. No one even knew who we were at the point.
We were in the same lane, but Canadian.
Right.
We were
the
just
Canadian-
the Canadian dudes on the Canadian side of the tour, right? So, you know, fast forward to us showing a whole sound of hey, this is something that is fresh and I think can take over North America because no one's doing it.
Yeah.
That to us was the start of the collaboration. You know, the stuff that Chris added on the record, as soon as we even realized the theme of it being Sparta, we're like, this isn't going to work. That's my voice saying Tsunami.
Right.
When the second drop happens, that's me going, namina, 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 na.
I
And
love
the
that
break.
part.
Namina, namina, na.
It's very simple, but it made the record.
Yeah.
And then, you know, chords, the whole, it was
The rave chords. That's definitely Chris.
the saws
From what I
for
know,
sure.
yeah.
I mean, he's like,
Yeah.
they just added a saw. I mean, okay. When you verbally telling someone what chords to play, you know, you're adding a whole section. The whole, you know, half the drop was not there. So it's like literally just like, if he would have came on the podcast and been like, this is the idea that I came up with. Don't play the full session once we've worked on it for that many hours, and then show like this is what I did. Well, like, why don't you just show the demo that you know
Right.
that you did, and then
Right,
it's
so
all love.
it's like you said, it's all the way, it's all perception and how you kind of explain it. And we've heard so many stories, and we've seen so many articles, and there just to this day has never been a true, accurate representation of how this session went on.
And he also tried to make it say, hey, Spinning told them to do big room. It's like
Spinnin never
no,
was
we
even
told-
a part of this
we
equation
told
at that
Big-
point.
We told Spinning what we were doing.
Animals was not a reference song, which she said during the podcast. After we played that show in London with Tiesto, and it took Chris 6 months to find Epic, the record Epic. That was our first instinct that we're going to take Empire of the Sun and MGMT vocals and do these big room type drops that are going to just fuck crowds up. And that was the start of what, you know, everything became.
Right.
So,
I mean, that was probably the hardest thing. Like, it was getting the kicks right, because I'm like trying to distort 808s.
They're not
and-
easy to make.
And
Those
then
big room
when,
kicks.
you know, we tell Borgeous, and then Niles just goes rips it from a song. I'm like, bro, that's fucking genius.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? Who gives a shit? Like,
Right.
Yeah.
so in our
You
heads,
took it from the song that you were inspired
And
in
by.
our
then when the
heads-
song blew up, we're seeing articles saying that Martin Vollrich produced Tsunami.
Oh,
We're
yeah.
like,
Yeah, that
who
was
the
a
fuck
whole
is
other-
Martin Vollrich?
yeah.
Like, who the fuck is he now? Oh yeah,
She's
getting
like,
fired up.
Who the fuck is that? She's pissed
That's
too.
right.
So yeah,
That's
so
right.
the article comes
Some
out.
respect on a name.
Yeah, let's talk about that because there's the whole thing about Dubs being ghost produced. This giant article drops.
Rich kids,
Everybody,
daddy
yeah.
paid for everything.
EDM comes out. These guys are I think there was also stuff about Martin too, about his uncle is like the guy from Spinnin. I don't know if that's true. Whatever.
who cares?
But this article comes out. It goes over all over the EDM blogs, and obviously in EDM it's like a small community, so everybody's all over it. Now,
Yeah.
Dubs is ghost produced. This guy Martin Vorwerk is the guy, the mastermind behind everything, and stuff starts coming out about Tsunami. So for you
Yeah.
guys, what was that like?
I remember
That
the
was
night
our-
we were just
that
played a
was
show
our-
in France or something. And
Yeah,
like
that was our
manager just like-
first time that we've ever, quote unquote, had a smear campaign come against us. And to be completely honest, Martin Vorwerk hit us up. We didn't even know who he was at the time. And he was like, and he went online and said, I did not do this song. So not only are we having smear campaigns go against us when our song is going #1, there's like
It's gotta feel so weird.
crazy revolving
We're pretty
energy
pissed.
going on.
Yeah, I would imagine.
Yeah, it was the first time you've ever seen your name written in a bad light. Like you're 21 years old. You're on top of the world. Your song just went #1 in like 30 countries.
You're landing in a country to play a show, and it's just like happens to be playing on the radio.
It's
You're
just
like,
as
oh,
soon as we
shit.
landed, it was on every radio. As soon as we got in the car.
It did get radio play, which is fucking
In
crazy.
Europe,
if you think
not
about
in
it.
North
No, I
America.
heard it.
Yeah,
in-
for EDM to
There's
be on the
one
radio?
vocal, just me saying Tsunami and a little bit of namina namina. And that's literally, you know, that was a moving point for radio too, where it was like, holy shit, like we have a record with no vocals, just
And let's just
taking
be
over
clear,
top
that is
40.
the best concept for a song name I ever came up with.
Yeah, how did the Tsunami name
You
come
want
about?
to? No.
Yes.
Let me
I
Chris,
said two names.
Get it,
I
Chris.
was
Gotta
like,
give you the
I was
credit.
like, I have two names. Either like Rave Horn or something, or
I fuck with
or
Rave Horn.
Tsunami. No, it was like no. It reminded me of like there's like a fucking natural disaster coming or something like.
Oh, okay.
So then I was like,
Yeah.
I said the one that was like shitty, and I was like, or Tsunami, and everyone's like, oh yeah, and then Alex was instantly like, namini 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 namini.
No, but this is the craziest part is that after the first demo and we get back to that house where we're like the hype house of electronic music for us,
Yeah.
we play all the roommates the song, and everyone just like that was the first time in our whole music career of like.
But then they hear. You know, they see the stuff and they're like, oh, fucking,
They're
that
more pissed
motherfucker
than
woke up
anyone
me. He
because-
woke me up every day, fucking, playing that shit all loop. Like,
Because there's people that were there from every minute of that whole moment.
I know there's story of like people being like, "Oh, we got this song. I never thought it would go big, and then it ends up blowing up."
Right.
But this song,
no, the thing is, we released so many projects and songs in the past, and we would have been like, oh, we're gonna drop this shit. It's gonna go fucking viral. We worked so hard on the marketing, GIFs, blah blah, the website, the
Right.
songs. Drop it. It's just like
but Tsunami seems like people were excited about.
It's just
Did that
spinning.
tell you?
Spinning-
This is what told me.
Spinning was so viral, and the song was so viral. Any good song that dropped on their
At that time. Yeah.
did good.
And
but
EDM was blowing up, so that was the
It's good timing
peak
and everything.
EDM
It was the
moment.
timing, yeah.
You know, the timing, the stars, everything aligned in a great way. We didn't know it was gonna become what it became.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing that was super telling to me was I had friends showing up out of the blue at the house just to hear it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey everyone, I just want to take a quick second to celebrate the anniversary of Gorilla. It's been an entire year since we released the Gorilla series, and it's no secret why it's the most popular pack to date. So we've decided to do something really cool. We decided to create the ultimate Gorilla anniversary bundle for you guys. This bundle is going to include 400 serum presets, a ton of samples, and 11 Ableton Remake project files from some of your favorite artists like Skrillex, Virtual Riot, and Fred Again. For those of you that have already purchased Gorilla's early access, don't worry, we got you covered. For the first time ever, we are actually including an expansion pack for Gorilla available on our site now. It's gonna have new serum presets in the same style of multi-genre, and of course, 5 new Ableton Remake project files from Skrillex and Fred Again. And if you missed out on your chance to get all of the original project files from the early access bundle, we got those on our site for you too. So make sure you guys go check out the link in the description and go get your copy of your Gorilla's Ultimate Anniversary Bundle today. Let's jump back into the podcast.
The song came out in August. Pete Tong, he made it the BBC Radio Anthem of the Year.
Fuck yeah.
In August. So Pete Tong, you know, it released, it went #1 on Beatport. It started hitting radio stations. Pete Tong blew it up on BBC, and then it started charting in Belgium, in the Netherlands, in France, and blah, 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 blah. Next thing you know, we're trickling every country all the way to Australia. We have a #1 on our hands, and Spinnin did bring a great idea to us. They put Tiny Tempo on the remix.
they didn't release it in the UK.
It never came out in the remix in the UK because they had a plan to put Tiny Tempo
Yeah,
on a vocal.
Tiger remixed it.
Tiger remixed it,
Wow.
and then Tiny Tempo remixed it, and we put Tiny Tempo version out in the UK, and it beat Pharrell Happy.
Wow.
And we got our first #1 in the UK. And the funniest part about all this is that we just accepted a 56-date tour bus tour opening for Adventure Club for $500 a show
in America.
in America.
Did you
Wow.
guys dip?
So
We did the tour.
We did the tour
Good for
because
you.
they're our boys.
Yeah.
We stood strong with our you know.
That's
with
our only
deal, our
bus tour we
commitment.
ever did too. Wow.
And,
it was a sick tour.
And our managers have been friends since they've been fucking kids.
Wow.
And we go on this tour. We're still pretty broke. We're getting,
But you have a #1.
We're getting about $500 a show, but we have a #1. But keep in mind, we don't know how this really works because songs starting to chart, it's great, but it still takes time for the rest of the world to catch up.
Sure.
That's kind of how this stuff works. Is like
You're not going to be like
even
playing
though you have
sellout
a hit,
shows.
even though that Beatport #1 was #1 for a few weeks on end, even when it fell off #1, the world was still catching up to that #1.
Mm-hmm.
So we're halfway through this Adventure Club tour, and we're starting to see like kids in the crowd with like Dubs merch on, that we like bootleg merch. Like we're starting to fill up rooms. Meanwhile, these guys have an amazing fan base too, but like we're starting to see like real fans. Before we had to go out and earn these fans. Now we had fans showing up for us. We completed 56 dates on this tour bus. It was like the craziest thing. Like Leighton from Adventure Club was dating Cruella. She's on the bus with us, coming out every night. We're playing like rocking like insane House of Blues shows, like sick venues. We finished the tour and we get a call and we're like, yo.
Well, we had one show. Our first show was in Napoli, Italy.
Oh.
Go play. We go to Naples, Italy, and then Spinning hits us up and they're just like, you guys have the #1 record on the radio.
You should stay in Europe for a little while. We're like, what does that mean? They're like, it's Christmas at this point, because we started the tour in end of October into November. The tour finished in December, and we go play that show in Italy. And next thing you know, they're like, you're not going home for Christmas. We're like, what? They're like, you're going to stay in Europe, and we're going to do shows. You're going to hit every radio.
But first off, before you do that, we do a fundraiser every year in Holland on the biggest radio station in the country. And the fundraiser is called Clean the Shit Up. Probably the Dutch version. That's the English version. Clean the Shit Up.
The DJs of the radio station stay in a glass box for like 11 days or something, or like a whole week.
No way,
where they sit in a glass box and they basically have people request songs and pay money as a charity donation. And Tsunami was the #1 requested song. And they called us and they're like, so if you don't go back and you stay in Europe and do all this stuff we asked you to do, we promise you it's going to be really worth your time. The first thing we want you to do is drive to Leeuwarden, land in Amsterdam, drive to Leeuwarden.
The funniest thing is, like, you're going to land at the airport, meet a guy who works at the label.
This Dutch dude.
His name is CEES.
We're like,
and we're
what's
like,
up, Cease?
We're like, we're looking for Cease. He's like, my name's Case. We're like, Case? You fucking get Case from
Call him
Cease,
and to this
dude.
day, he's an OG.
Yeah.
We remember that day ever. They picked us up in like a Mini Cooper. There's like
Legit.
3 or 4 of us just packed in a Mini Cooper driving an hour outside of Amsterdam into Leeuwarden, where all of a sudden there's like thousands of people on this like kind of like mainstream charity event stage, and it's a whole square just filled with people.
How many people? Like what? 10,000, 20,000?
10,000, but
The biggest show you guys have played in
no.
your
Listen what they
not
did.
the biggest.
They
We
At
played
this
big
point,
ones.
I'm saying.
No, not even.
we actually got lucky. We had a bigger one before that we'll get
yeah.
into, but going back on this
love this
story,
story.
it's
This
like,
is so sick,
dude. They put us on the stage, and right before we go on, they're like, yeah, there's 10,000 people, let's say, in the square right now, but it's actually being broadcasted to all the other squares across the Netherlands and into like Germany or something, and they're all watching it on big screens, kind of like when people watch the playoffs of hockey in like their cities and stuff. So we go on stage, and we perform just one song. We just performed Tsunami. And every single person in that damn square was jumping, and all the other squares across Holland were jumping, that it created an earthquake.
Damn.
Like a
Created
mini
an actual
earthquake.
natural
It was
disaster.
like a mini earthquake.
So then, like, their, like, Jimmy Kimmel late night show picked it up, and they're like, these guys created an actual, like,
Seismic
and then
event.
so we did that
Exactly.
like middle through the set, and then we did. So all they did, they played the song. We go out and just Alex on the mic, and it hyped the crowd up. So then the show's about to end, and we're just in the fucking green room, just blazing, like it's New Year's, like it's
We're in
about to be my
Holland.
birthday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they come up to us, they're like, "We need you to go and do it one more time." We're like,
An encore of Tsunami?
yeah, they did an encore, so we did it twice.
It
played your song
raised,
twice.
it raised 11 million euros.
It was
Holy
crazy because
shit.
For that
people would just
charity.
donate money for like,
Yeah.
it was crazy.
It was such a...
And they're so G out there. It's called
the
Clean the Shit Up.
video is so crazy when I send it to you after.
Yeah.
It's so wild to see that, like, that square and, like, what happened. And then that was, like, the first moment when we realized, like, okay, this is not normal.
Right.
And we basically went from the Netherlands and did our own headline tour 3 weeks in France. We toured every weekend, 3-4 shows every weekend for 4 weeks straight across France.
Wow.
And then it started trickling to, it's like wherever the song kept going number one or wherever it was getting this kind of major support. Meanwhile, we were nothing 6 months ago. You know, we were playing shows, we were creating music, we were still broke upcoming musicians. So when they tell us to fucking jump, we were jumping.
Right.
And when they said,
And we're
hey,
going fucking hard too.
when they say, hey, now Belgium wants you in their system, go fucking take a train to Belgium.
Yeah.
Now we're in Belgium. Next thing you know, we're in Germany. Next thing you know,
You must
we're
go
in
to
Prague.
Albania.
Next thing you know, we're
So
landing
what
in
about-
Albania, and there's like 20 camera crew news reporters in the airport. We're just like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, we're just
dude?
like skidding out from the night before, like 1 hour of sleep, just like haggard. We're like,
And
oh.
so in America,
But in America, it's
what was
doing
happening?
like
Was it a
nothing.
little late?
No, like
It was late.
we'd be playing big festivals.
Yeah.
But like it was getting no radio play because there was no vocals. It wasn't a mainstream
and
song.
not even that. America is way more political.
Yeah.
Way more political. Universal wanted the record, and you know, this is the craziest part about everything, is that we were still independent.
Oh, that's right, because you guys weren't in a deal.
We did a single. We had a single deal
Yeah.
with Tsunami, and we had a great relationship growing with this amazing upcoming dance record label, and they were able to have the whole world look into our brand without us having to sign these 30, 40, 50 page contracts.
They wanted to.
Yeah.
They were like, hey, like, how about we do a deal? And we're like, nah.
And that's what took a little bit longer in the U.S.
Okay.
Because the majors wanted it, and they wanted to license it, you know, a little bit more indie and work the record themselves, and you know, but seeing that experience, good music, whether it happens immediately through the big corporations or it starts to trickle. You know,
And
it's
also-
now in the U.S. Army at this point. It's now in the U.S. Army as a song that they, you know.
But we weren't actually.
It's
so
beyond the public.
Spinning loved us because we were also a good look to the label. We
Right.
had, we had all these other songs coming
Great
out
brand,
too. Yeah,
lot
we
of-
were
lot of
cool
good
for them.
s-
We
yeah.
we're sending them a lot of good songs, so it was cool for them. But at the same time, it was very organic because we didn't have a crazy deal with them. So it wasn't like they were like,
Right.
you know what I mean? Like
Like there was kids in full 360 deals since they were like 14, 15-year-olds, and we were like in like this one-term single deal with them, and you know, we're like, you know, you keep doing great things for us, we'll keep handing you
good
guys
relationship.
great records, and that I'll always have a lot of respect for them, you know,
Yeah.
deep
those-
down.
like
you
when
know?
we work with labels, like back then, they were fucking doing shit.
Oh yeah.
Like they were working.
Yeah.
Like
Spinnin was
we get. I mean, it's a Dutch thing.
in
I
a
saw, I don't
different
know,
way,
like, they're
you know.
working.
Yeah.
They had this.
They had the people on
They had
lock,
this
the
house
radios on lock.
in Rotterdam or something, and it was just like employees that loved like their jobs, and they showed up, and people were on the computers. There was 3 different stories in the house, and everyone was working different circuits. You know, they're mailing out songs to DJs USBs, and you know, actually working the blogs, and then the top guys were actually hitting like the main radio stations and the big stuff, and
what
they
a
knew how
label's
to.
supposed to do.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, that was such a unique time. And then we get back to North America, and our manager Josh and his dad, who also manages us, Steve Herman, he's like, listen, and Steve, meanwhile, he's an OG. He's like, okay, boys, so you've now entered, you know, your first realm of what this life is for you, you know. And we're like, thank you for like believing us and helping us. He's like, you believed in yourselves, but I'm going to tell you what you have going on right now. And this was a really, really, really important piece of information he gave us. He was like, I was with the Backstreet Boys from the very beginning, and they blew up around the world before they blew up in America first. He's like, you get on that airplane and you go work every country you possibly can. So the year is now 2013, turned into 2014. We start that France tour. We hit up other countries across Europe, and we come back to North America. From that day on, we now enter 2014 with the mindset of like, it's now or never. And we go do 200 plus shows a year for 7 years.
Man.
I'm talking like,
Yo.
I'm talking the house that you met us at in Laurel Canyon. We're staying there, working in that studio day after day, flying to Europe 2-3 times a month for the weekends. We would fly Lufthansa to Germany, play a show, take another jet to Austria to play a second show that night, to wake up and play a show in the Netherlands, to end it off in London, to then fly back to LA because we have sessions lined up for the whole week.
Or like a residency in Vegas.
Or we had we had a residency in Vegas for 5 years where we're
Or
doing
I was like,
Hakkasan
fuck it,
Omnia.
I'm staying in Ibiza for the week. Greg, give me that villa I got.
Yeah, so we really started from nothing, the ground up, as humans and as musicians, and
The punk band vibe continued into
Fully.
the EDM DJ duo.
fully, and
Like you guys were grinding like you were a band.
Dude,
Pretty much.
we remember our first punk show was like a 6-hour drive to Sherbrooke, Quebec from Toronto, and we slept in the minivan. Some of the guys slept in the venue that night. We woke up at 5 a.m, haggard, drive right back, and just had enough money just to fill up the van.
Yeah.
And we used that, experience, and that definitely drove everything for the rest of our career. And
You guys are like
Yeah.
really like, from what I've known, you guys are very like family oriented. Like you love your mom and your dad very much. And like,
Yeah.
I wonder like how are they dealing with the fact that they're two? Because you guys don't have any other brothers and sisters.
we don't have the
did you?
closest relationship with our dad anymore, to be honest.
Oh, okay.
But,
Sorry, your mom.
Yeah, we're super close with our mom, and
And you're about to not come home for Christmas.
yeah.
What is she thinking?
She was
bro?
just in LA for a month.
No, he's talking about back in the
Oh.
day.
No, like when
back
this
in
shit
the
started,
day.
because you guys just went on the road.
She was like, yeah.
You know what?
Was she like-
our
was-
mom is the third member of Dubs.
Fuck
Yeah.
yeah.
She works
when
for
we
us.
when we win, she wins, and when we have stuff happen, when she reads stuff that we're like, don't worry, that's just like the internet, you can tell she's like, but that's not the truth. You guys
Right.
need to say the truth. We're like, well, the truth will come when the truth comes, and that's why, we've waited 12 years to start talking about what we believe is what should actually be the facts and what should be, the truth into this world. That's all we have as humans.
Yeah.
Is the truth, right? And that's why we're here saying like, yeah, we smoked a lot of weed and we've had this and we've had controversy and we've had this. We've had a roller coaster of a career, but guess what? It just keeps going up and up, and we wouldn't change anything for the world, man. It's like, it's such a blessing. The lows teach you so much and the highs teach you so much.
After a while, I mean, you guys have played all over the world. Like, I would imagine for anybody, like, eventually, like, I know people are gonna fucking hate in the comments, whatever, but like, eventually, I feel like that would kind of get a little old. Like, everything has like, a little bit of a expiration to it, where like you do something a million times, it just becomes even if it's the coolest fucking thing in the world.
Nothing feels better than landing in a new beautiful place and just experiencing a new culture.
Yeah, a whole
and
new
just
place.
taking it in. Nothing is worse than flying 20 hours to get there and then doing it every day. Like, I've seen every movie on here. My laptop just died. I'm looking out the fucking window like,
Yeah.
holy shit.
The 1 or 2 hours that you get to
I know the performing is everything.
Oh,
I'm not
but
trying to hate on
performance
that
is
yet.
what
Yeah.
kept you sane.
Right.
Yeah.
And the performance and seeing those kids that, I remember seeing some of their faces like landing in South America and doing like tours out there or in Asia where, we've played in Myanmar.
We fuck is mine.
Burma.
I don't
We
even know
played
what
in
that
places
is.
that just got ATM machines 10 years
Wow.
ago and 40,000 people show up. It's like things like that where you're like, damn, these people fully put a little bit of their paycheck, what little paycheck they already get, they put a bit of that aside to come to this show tonight, to witness the music, to witness the feeling, to be there with their friends. So
You know what that means? We're going to fucking go hard, dude.
Yeah.
we went hard.
We're going to go hard because fuck yeah, dude.
We made sure the show was always correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was one thing I think also, helped us with longevity was like, no matter how tired we were, like no matter even from the beginning of our career, we always said like if there was like 10 people or 1,000 people, just like fucking give it a show. Like you never know, and like
you could see
we
videos
really-
of you guys.
No, there's
You
literally a
guys
video. There's one
definitely
person
go
in the
hard.
crowd.
You
And
guys
it's a massive festival.
always are. You guys play a show like a punk band.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know?
we've had people say that. We've had people say that's like kind of like electronic Travis Scott kind of like a show, with crowds like really really going that hard. The start of DJing in North America was pretty like you're just behind the decks like standard, and then we started like bringing more performance aspect to that to that live show, and now we're at a stage where like we can just take the crowd on a whole journey, whether we want them to go as hard as possible, whether we want to fucking play records like we were young and Gold Skies where it's like just a moment of vocals and just straight nostalgic feel. We have this ability to almost like puppeteer a crowd. And that's something that's like super, like it still blows my mind.
That's a skill just like producing is. You know,
Totally.
being able to do that. It's a thing
Totally.
that takes a lot of practice and a lot of hard work to
Yeah.
get good at that for sure.
When you get in the studio and you're like, okay, like where are we at? What's the kind of next energy that we need to bring into our career, but also something that's going to transform into, if we play it into our live set, like what's our focus, So that's, something that we do still on a daily basis. It's like before we start a session, it's kind of like we talk about what that focus is going to be.
Fuck
For
yeah,
sure.
That's so cool, man. I think like I wanted to kind of bring it into, talk about Kanary a little bit with that. You guys have such a really amazing foresight with your own career, but also helping other people. You guys are always like working with up and comers and stuff like that, hitting the DMs, like
Hit us up.
even if it's the unreachables, yeah, you hit us up, and it's amazing to share that with new artists as well.
That's like, I think that's our, that's the least we can do, the least that we can give back. And it's something that we pride ourselves on being, like, it's one of the best things that we're good at is keeping our ear to the street.
Yeah.
No matter, we started, obviously the band stuff, we were like 14, 15, 18. Dub started when we were, 18, 19 years old. We took off when we were 21, 22 years old. I'm 33 and he's 35 now. So we have people coming up to us on the street being like, dude, I used to listen to you, or you guys are OGs, or blah. I'm like, dude, we're just like kind of just getting started still. Like I feel
Yeah.
young as hell still. If you love what you do, if you inspire and keep working your ass off, it's only a matter of time of what year becomes your break. That's just what happens.
Yeah.
I really believe that everyone has a moment of making it. It could be different, levels of what it is, but everyone has their moment. And as long as you just don't give up on that, that drive and that skill and that fucking dream, you're going to have that moment where you make it.
Yeah.
And we're watching kids do that. But yeah, I mean, trapping in the DMs is something that like we love to do. We go fishing on a weekly basis, for vocals and just dope upcoming people. And if it's to, collaborate on some upcoming dub stuff, we're cool. There's no ego. But now we've, branched off into Kanary, which has been a name that's been with us. It's been our touring company since we've been kids. It's been called Kanary. I think we were listening to Gucci Mane record, and he was like, Kanary Yellow Diamonds, and we're like, Kanary, that's sick. Let's call our label or our company Kanary.
Cool.
So we started that years ago with like some T-shirts and stuff, and it was just last year where we decided to take it full time, start investing true capital into Kanary, into artists, developing people. Last year was a groundbreaking moment for us, developing core people in our friend group that we knew that have been, DJing and producing for 10 years that just needed a next step now.
Yeah.
And 2025 is the year now where we're spreading that to the rest of the world with some upcoming, talent across the map. And we have a bidding war right now between a few majors and an Empire that are trying to become partners in Kanary.
Nice, bro.
Yeah.
And what's cool about Kanary and working with all these other artists is that the artists we want to work with also, they're from different they have different tastes, they have different styles. So if not, they'll pitch us ideas and get some feedback from us or something, and it's something we love to work on. Maybe we can't necessarily drop it as a dubs record, obviously. But it's just cool to really be able to release records that we love, but cannot necessarily drop it for us or something like
Right.
that. So,
Other outlets.
yeah, other outlets.
If you're an EDM producer and you need some serious sounds, make sure you guys go to XLNTSOUND.com. They have everything you need, from serum presets, project files, remakes, and even free downloads for you guys. And check out all these different testimonials that all these heavy-hitting EDM producers are saying about XLNTSOUND.com.
And on top of that, use code TheExcellentShow at checkout to save 10% off your next purchase.
So, dude, I want to talk a little bit about Casey Frey. And
Yeah, bro.
how did that whole thing come about?
Another Another person that Casey was doing great, but also like I feel like he's meteoric now as far as like his comedy and stuff like that. Like another person you saw, you're like, we need that guy.
But I also think like that this is how you guys do it. You guys align yourselves.
Yes.
You guys get accidental, and all these happy accidents like really happen, right?
I mean,
and was that the situation with
I
this?
think it was literally the singer Bridge
Yeah.
at the end of the session or something.
Said
or-
that's his favorite guy.
Yeah, he showed
on
us.
the internet.
And then Alex was like, we gotta hit this
I
fucker
started
up,
hitting
dude.
him up and creating a relationship with him, and we
Yeah.
were like cool, like online type situation. I will say that release, that song, like actually getting a plaque is something that I hold probably like the heaviest value in my fucking music career.
Marketing career.
And marketing. I mean, that's the first time we used music and the new age of, social marketing
Yeah.
to create something. Casey is, first of all, an absolute comedic genius.
Yep.
I think he deserves
one
all
of
the
my
flowers.
favorites.
I still, to this
Dude,
day,
I'm not gonna lie though, when he sent us the video,
You're like,
He didn't get it.
I think I'm dumb. I'm like, dude, I don't fucking get
And
it, dude.
that's what his
I
comedy
don't fucking
is.
get this shit. And then I'm
that's what
seeing
his
everyone like
comedy is.
fucking doing it. I'm like, dude,
I
okay,
knew
I love it.
immediately.
I'm like, it's
Yeah, I knew
phenomenal.
immediately. I was like,
I knew the whole time.
Dude.
So that was, the world thought it happened out of the blue, but that's something that we orchestrated.
So how did that conversation go? You
It was like, yo,
Call 'em up.
We have this really cool, like, down-tempo house record that has, like, Spanish vibes. Like, check it out. Do you like it?
Once we sent him the song, I mean, that's all him. We didn't have any input. We just let him do his magic.
We're just like, yo,
trusted.
we need something that is going to basically have the world move their body to.
Yeah.
And he sent us a video. Chris didn't get it.
I'm
I
like-
didn't think twice. I threw
I
it
didn't
up
get-
on
oh.
the internet. He threw it up on his page. It became his highest counted, views on
Yep.
Instagram to this day, I believe.
It's one of his top posted things.
And
like,
Yeah.
And the craziest thing is that 3 things happened. It became one of his top highest views. It was the start of TikTok. So if that happened a year later, it would have probably made the song even more astronomically, successful.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, it became a culturally like cool moment where the music was catching and the dance was also catching. It was the first time where I, because we all saw like, Ray Shremmerd with the Black Beatles thing where everyone, or the mannequin challenge and stuff like that. There was things like that. We didn't try too hard to do that. It just kind of naturally happened like that. Next thing you know, you have Jake Paul and every influencer across the planet doing the ole and all these like dances where we're like, damn, like this was supposed to just be an underground kind of house record that had a little bit of like Latin flavor to it. And next thing you
Some
know,
a little extra promotion from Casey Frey, who's like viral.
yeah, just like a quick post type of situation. Next thing you know, it took over summer of 2019 or 18, and every influencer and their fucking family were doing the dance, were reposting the video. They were doing like what is now a Stitch on TikTok.
Yeah.
They were like doing their Stitch version of that dance. And the best part about it to this day is like if we play that song live, I see people fucking doing that dance.
So it's blowing up, and we're like, all right, let's continue the hype. Let's shoot the video. Pull up to the video. He's like, okay, cool. Pulls up to the video. We're shooting some stuff.
I'm like, where
Totally
are you, bro? He's
frees
like,
up.
I'm in the parking lot with a cracked windshield and a 92 fucking Audi. I'm like, what? He says the fucking funniest shit.
And it was all freestyle. Like there was like a little concept of the video. He's like, well, what do you want to do for my scene? And we're just smoking a joint. And somehow he's like, you guys been to Germany? We're like, we started doing the German accent. And then he just freestyles on the spot. We go in, he starts freestyling it. And I'm literally like, I'm fucking this up because I'm literally, I can't control my laughter.
We're all behind the camera,
I'm
like,
fucking
crying.
pissing my pants. I have to fucking leave. I have to get out of there. We dropped the video. Everyone's like, this is fucking shit, dude. Why didn't you make it like a version 2 of the fucking that thing? And I'm thinking it's hilarious, but like obviously I'm not funny.
We loved
dude.
it, but it, you know, as an artist from the back end of the product that you're putting out in the world, we didn't need to overthink it.
Right.
We should
You
have
already
just
had
made
it.
the original video, the music video, which it kind of already was.
Yeah.
Right.
So, okay, quote unquote, wasn't the music video the official, but we already had a piece of content that was acting as the music video, garnered like hundreds of millions of views.
Right.
And still to this day, I have people in all of my comments and Twitter responses that are like talking about that song still.
The only time I've ever had that, sorry to interrupt you, Parker.
Yeah.
But it was Casey, where it's like when you're in grade 3 and your buddy in class is making you laugh and you can't stop laughing.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
Casey Frey and Tommy Chong. We shot a skit with Tommy Chong.
Wow.
And like he was getting pissed off.
Because Chris
Because
couldn't stop.
he would just
Chris
freestyle
was so
shit.
fried then too. Like we've only done 2 of these things. Yeah, we've done a few, but like Tommy Chong and Casey Frey.
Dude, like comedians, it's like that's how I know you're good.
For sure.
I
Chris
just
just hit
can't.
puberty right
Yeah.
there.
Dude,
So
I was just
will-
laughing
Will
hysterically.
there ever be a second video with Casey?
He did do another
had
one.
one.
That you
Oh, he
yeah.
did. I fucking-
on the viral shh. He went so OD on the second one that there's like guns and shooting
Yeah.
and all this stuff that it tripped out a lot of the social media algorithm because they put blockers on it.
Oh,
Yeah.
They're
right.
like,
The
you can't
blood-
have
yeah.
guns and
the
blood
knife.
and blah, blah, blah. It's the funniest video
It's
ever.
so good.
It is performance award-winning art.
Yeah.
And we love that song. I mean, listen, the whole idea of that whole thing was, it was kind of like to make fun of every label telling us to get on TikTok.
Yeah.
And we're like, you want us to get on TikTok? And we did that. I got Casey Frey to do the most fucking fire thing, and I put Wiz Khalifa on the fucking feature.
So sick.
And Wiz Khalifa came in and
Did the video.
spit
Wiz
the
is the man,
craziest
too. He's just
fucking
cool as
verse
shit.
over this like speed tempo house record that's like and just like everyone drooling. And listen, it wasn't.
I put those both as the same thing in my head.
That's so
That's
funny,
lit.
dude.
Yeah,
I'm not
that-
even a
that's
fan anymore,
fuck-
guys. I'm sorry, dude. I'm not. I'm terrible.
Dude.
But no, I think so. What
a
a
lot
lot
of
of
shit
people
going on.
missed about that is that it was orchestrated. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? And it does. It has nothing
Like no, at first he was like, "Can I put like sponsored?" And we're like, "No, dude."
Yeah, no, that
No.
that would kill the
He's
whole
like,
thing.
"Yeah, true."
Yeah.
like,
So I wanted to bring up. So in a lot of our sessions, you guys tell us some like crazy tour stories, and
Yes.
one of them stuck out.
The people need to know.
I had to ask you guys if it was okay before we started filming. But can we talk about my favorite tour story?
Which one?
It starts with a C, the cartel story.
Starts with
which one? Dude, that is our job. Our job is like professional laundry cleaners of money. We just show up to
Yeah.
these festivals.
Exactly.
Yeah,
collect.
dude, we could talk about
So
it.
talk
Fuck it.
about the cartel and how
I
you
would
guys
love to hear it
got
I
again.
would say that
What, Acapulco?
yeah, our management got a call and they're like, hey, blah 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 is having a birthday party. It's gonna be crazy. We run the show here in Acapulco and we want Dubs to perform it. And we're like, is that safe, bro? And he's like, they said you can't really say no. We're like, what do you mean? He's like, yeah, like if you guys say no, like you're not really that cool with Mexico like that. We're like, what? Next thing you know, we fucking land in Acapulco with 3 bulletproof Range Rovers.
I'm like, why is the door so heavy? Like, oh, that's
Wait,
bulletproof.
you didn't know?
That
It's
was
his first time ever feeling a bulletproof door.
I'm like, what the fuck? This thing's
We
like
open the
500
bulletproof
pounds.
door. We get in the car right off the airplane. Basically, there's
This guy just goes
pounds of weed in the back
massive
seat.
bag, and I'm looking over there, and there's a cop looking at us.
He pulls
And I'm
up
like,
to the cop.
Dude, there's a fucking cop. He's like, oh, hey.
Pulls the
pulls
cop
up,
in, talking to us.
gives him
There's guns in the back seat. There's
AKs.
fucking pounds of weed. There's AKs. There's pistols. There's Glocks. There's shit just hanging around the whole car.
Yeah.
We're just tripping out, but we're also like, we seem like we're in good hands, low key.
Yeah, that's probably the safest
Like,
place.
it's
And
you
he
could be.
picks us up and he goes, boys, you're here for the weekend. Anything you want to see or do, you just say these 3 names. Next thing you know, we check into like the most amazing villa. We go down to the beach. Sea-Doos pulling up for us. Boats pulling up for us. Chefs with food just pulling up with taco. We have the craziest weekend.
Is it just you two, by the way?
And our
And
tour
Greg.
manager, Greg.
Recording
And
everything.
We play the party. It's just like they own all the venues and stuff in the town, and we play this dope like fucking set at one of the fucking parties, and I lost train of thought.
So wait. So they call you and say, "We want you to play for the weekend," and you
Yeah.
can't
They told
say
you who
no.
they were.
yeah.
Yeah.
They said, this is who we are. This is who it's for.
You give them your number, like your fee, and then they're like, "Cool,
They paid us in cash.
amazing,
Cash
you
on
get it?
arrival.
amazing." Oh, so you guys were
You have
flying
to get it back, though.
with no promise.
And I know it's over 10 grand. Because I have a feeling.
We
Here,
got it.
Greg.
Yeah.
Here.
3 of us splitting it right up and
Yeah.
just praying for the best. Got through.
Damn, that's so badass.
And we had the fucking most. I'm gonna send you the photo, or there is one I think floating online somewhere.
Like we
where
we
it's
finished
like,
playing the show and we're driving in the car and there's an AK and like fucking gats.
They're like,
by
hold
my-
them,
he's
put
like,
them out
shoot.
the window,
He's like,
shoot
shoot
it
it out.
if you
I'm
want.
like,
We're like,
he's like,
"Ah,
shoot
shit."
it out the window. We're like, I'm like,
There's, like,
no, dude. Like,
There's
just pull
photos
over
of
and
us like I'm like 22 years old. Like Chris has a blunt hanging out of his mouth.
and a fucking ball
He's
of
holding
booze.
like a gun out, like an AK. I'm holding a pistol to like his head. It's like some hangover shit.
Oh my
Chris
God.
got it tattooed on his arm. Show the camera.
I mean, it was kind of based. It's just. It's my
That's it
first
right
tattoo. It's horrible. It's a massive regret in my life. But it was based. It was based off a cartoon that someone did for us back in the day.
Yeah.
And that night of
That's so
fucking holding
dope.
an AK.
That's. A
I was
memory,
fried,
dude.
bro. What do you want to say? I smoked fucking 10 grams of weed
I
a
remember
day.
that was his first tattoo ever on his forearm.
It was a massive
of-
regret.
And then
we
I
went
looked
to
at him, I said,
Panama,
"Are you
played a show in.
fucking stupid?"
He's like, "What are you gonna tell your kid
Oh, this
when
is
you
the
get
best.
that?"
No, this is the best fucking segue, bro. He gets that done, and then as soon as brothers, you know, like if a brother's like, "Are you fucking stupid?" You know, instantly it like hits you in a
fucked
way.
up.
where
It's
you're
my
like,
brother,
Oh
bro.
shit! Maybe that was one of the dumbest things I've ever done.
Dude,
So
it's
like
fucked.
once you guys got to Mexico and you're you know you're hanging out with these people,
It's pretty normal.
Yeah,
they're
did
just
it- yeah,
normal
I'm sure,
people.
like,
he's like, "This is my family house." We're just like,
Mansion,
oh shit,
mansion.
it's like on the fucking.
You know what? We
cliff,
had a
like-
lot of time to just hang out with ourselves. With basically, it was like our playground. We got to do whatever we wanted. They picked us up a few times because they owned the beach club too.
like a
That's
tree
a
forest.
crazy
That was
story. It was
sick.
like a crazy.
That was the
beach
next
club
time we went.
Story.
That was
Oh,
the
you
next
been
year.
to-
Yeah,
do that
twice.
twice.
Yeah, because we became friends with them now.
Yeah.
Like it was like on some cool shit, or like you
Yeah.
know, not I'm gonna say them. I'm gonna say a few
Yeah.
like people that fucking crush shit in Mexico.
Right.
Yeah.
Whatever. We've met the most insane characters all over the planet, bro. Like
It's so sick.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to, we'll make that documentary, and you'll just see some fucking crazy.
It's
shit.
crazy you have it documented.
yeah, we have it all filmed.
Like
And you
years,
just-
like
Just-
even
there's
before.
photos,
yeah,
there's
just like
there's high quality footage. I mean, there's
shit I don't
moments
even
of
remember
us,
happening,
You know, there's
but just
yeah.
lit, just fire.
What
There's
kind
been
of
a lot
what kind
of
of cameras was
controversy,
it?
'cause
There was
this
like
is
a
real,
pretty,
bro.
a pretty good camera.
Pre like
a-
iPhone.
No, we had a 5D.
yeah,
Oh,
like we
that's
got
sick.
Greg,
Yeah,
like
we
we
had a
got him a
5D.
good camera.
Yeah.
And we're like, bro, this shit stays fucking running, dude.
Yeah.
And he's like,
He
don't
was
worry.
tour managing, and the whole time, the craziest thing is sometimes I go back just to reminisce and watch some of this footage, and like, it's like seeing our whole life in just a whole other lens because it's from behind us.
Yeah.
So it's just like you're just like, this is a trip.
Whoa.
Yeah, everything, bro. Like, I mean,
And you guys were also baked out of your minds, I'm sure, at that point, too.
Yeah,
Did they
I
give you a
mean,
pound
listen,
of weed?
we-
Remember?
I mean,
Listen,
let's just say that Greg went viral once or twice for shit that he didn't want to be said.
we got
About
we
weed.
got in a lot of random trouble in our career, and the craziest part of it was all really stemmed from weed.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is that like a big reason why
Like
you
the
guys are
shit we've
sober?
never even talked about before, like even the stuff that happened in fucking Europe and in fucking Hungary. It's like we got in trouble for getting people fucked up supposedly at a festival when all we did was smoke weed backstage.
It was
People
your
were
weed.
drinking.
We were just easy targets.
People were just drunk. People were just their own fucking. People were their own party animals.
You didn't supply
But-
anybody with anything.
No, dude. We
We
we've
were on
smoked weed
tour,
with people
dude. We were
before.
fucking
I'm asking.
very
I know the
stingy.
answer, but
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
asking for the. Just so
Yeah,
you know.
dude. I'm telling you straight up. Like back in the day, if you wanted to smoke our joint, we'd hit it with you. Totally.
But
Yeah.
but even back in the day, like people people are fans and they want to smoke weed who don't smoke weed. And I learned at a very young age before even the music shit, like, you're not smoking my weed, bro. I smoke fucking weed with hash, with fucking keef, with fucking wax.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
dude, like,
It can hit you if you're not like used to it.
I've
for
had
sure,
an
but,
experience when
like,
I quit for 2 months and smoked weed. And I had like when I was 14, you get a fucking panic attack. You think you're gonna
Tried
die.
dabs for the first time.
But
or-
listen, like
Bro, this guy's had meltdowns on dabs. Right?
Yeah.
yeah, totally.
He'll
But
never- he
at
would've
the
never
same
smoked a dab.
time, to get a rep of being these fucking druggies who got people fucked up and the media smeared us with a whole bunch of fucking left, right, crazy stories. We had to go through so much crazy shit. And we were like, we're not doing coke. We're not even we're drinking responsibly. We were good smokers. We could smoke weed.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we were young. We were pretty careless. We thought everyone was our friend. That was our biggest mistake.
And we're
And-
Canadian. Like Canadians are just like, they're like, what? THC is 2 years in jail in your system. It's like, I've never smoked weed in my life. Never smoked it.
That was another thing is that
I got arrested in Atlanta for a gram of weed, and it literally ruined my life. I almost lost my visa. Like, it was literally, I would literally fly home from a fucking 25-hour journey from Asia to sit in customs for 3 hours.
Oh, every time because of
Every
this
time,
happened.
which was
Atlanta.
like
Because he
every
was on a
fucking
visa,
4 days.
coming to America, going
Yeah.
through a situation that was
a gram of weed.
1
It
gram
wasn't
of
even
weed that
mine.
He had with fucking 2
Allegedly.
chains.
It wasn't even, I've never
Yeah.
even smoked marijuana
We played a
cigarettes
show
in
with-
my life.
Sway Lee and 2 Chains.
I would
and right
pull up
after
to
that, that's what
fucking,
happened.
Oh
I would
my
pull up to customs,
gosh.
hair up. Hello, sir. No, I've never smoked marijuana, but you're gonna have to see. I have to go to secondary, please.
But
Don't
listen,
fucking reject
it was
me.
a
I got
different
denied
time.
into the country twice.
It was
Like,
a different
dude,
time,
like,
and you
fucking
gotta,
crazy.
you gotta. Okay, first of all, I would like to say and just like have the record straight is that you have to respect these other countries and their laws and their things, but I will also say that 21 years of age, being flat out basically broke, moving to LA, to making millions and millions of dollars a year later and getting flown around the whole fucking country and having everyone, including the son of fucking the prince or the whatever and the fucking
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah of whatever saying, you're with me, you're good, you can do whatever, reality starts to skew.
Sure.
For
okay?
sure it does.
We had
Oh yeah,
moments.
the cops don't care here. They don't give a fuck. Next
we
thing
own
you're
the
fuck-
cops here.
Yeah, next
we
thing
do
you're
this
fucking
and,
getting like
and
arrested.
Listen,
You're like,
we're fucking still just smoking a plant at that point that we
Yeah.
truly thought was we were super jet lagged, we were very tired, and we always used weed for not only just creativity but just as enlightenment of our fucking selves.
just
Yeah.
to feel
we
normal.
we just wanted to feel what we were used to, which was what we did growing up, playing music at home in our basement. I mean, we also just grew up with just like loving fucking, Bob Marley and Rastafarian culture. We loved Wiz Khalifa. We
No
loved
effects,
Sublime.
punk music, and like
Yeah.
all their interviews. Like now that I would think about it,
We're
maybe
like, that's
the-
rock star shit.
Yeah, like maybe the people would look at them like, oh, those guys are fucking jerks. Like they're so But like we just thought it was funny, so like
Right.
maybe we're just
Yeah.
influenced by some people who are.
I think it's good for you guys to speak out about that and say like what actually is your perspective of it. Like,
Yeah, I
'cause
mean,
I'd have no idea what the fucking rules are in Hungary, and if I was a 21-year-old kid or whatever, and I
two,
didn't know that.
2 years of fucking jail time for just having THC in your system. Meanwhile, we were just in Amsterdam a day before.
Right? Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
They don't care.
Yeah, Amsterdam.
They don't care. If they want,
they-
and it's also a place where
if we were like from another place, like from because Europe has all these weird historical
crossovers.
historical battles and kind of people who are their neighbors who they've had historical battles with. If maybe someone of that culture was in their country and gets, bro, they don't give a fuck, bro. You're
Right.
They're hitting you with
or
the
if they
butt.
just want to target you,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter, bro. Their rules are way different than it is in Canada. Their rules are way different than it is here in the United States.
Yeah.
I think no matter what, if you're shot up into the stratosphere, there's always a good fucking balance of hate and love, and it's actually very natural. It's just how this world revolves, good and evil. At the same time, we came onto the scene really hot, really fast. We were pretty loud. We're brothers. We're brothers that have long hair that kind of like, portrayed this fucking, image of we don't give a fuck and there's no rules that are going to hold us down.
Yeah.
And we
So
were
when
kind
you
of the
get-
North American representatives because this was a very predominant European scene,
Oh, I
and
guess
they're on the
I
and
never thought of that.
our last name is Vandenhoef, so they're
You
like
guys sound
spinning.
Dutch as fuck.
Spinning is like, oh, like Dutch ancestors. I'm like, yep, Open Opa. They're like, oh, like, okay, like, but like to them, we're still like the half Dutch,
Yeah.
But like at the same time, Alex is on the mic in America, and he's like, hello guys, how's it going? And then like everyone else is like, there's like, what do you say? Like,
Yeah, I mean that's
It's
just
just
like,
true.
That's just how it all kind of like in my head, like that's kind of like how I see it. Like
Yeah.
there's a lot of energy surrounding the project.
Yeah, you got when you're a massive act, you're gonna have a lot of people that love you, and there's gonna be some people that hate you. Holy shit, that was a lot we just covered. I mean, you guys did not hold back, and we really appreciate you guys. We've always loved you guys, been big fans, and obviously,
Thank you, guys.
We're great friends. We love you guys. Thank you so much, bro.
thanks
Yeah.
for having
Love
us,
the Dubs
guys.
boys.
I'm locked in, or else I'd give you a high five too.
Yeah, it's all
Yeah,
good. I'll
same
give you
over
a
here.
hug at the end. But yeah, guys, that has been the Excellent Show. Thank you, guys. What do you guys got coming up? You want to tell the people about that they can be excited about?
I mean,
A lot
we
of
have
bangers.
the new single Reset with Dave Summer that Dom Doll has been rinsing in his set for the last 6 months. I'd say half of this year we're primarily focused on a lot of fucking underground, just like club heaters that are gonna bring back a lot of our OG fans getting really happy.
Nice.
And then just some of our biggest records in the bank right now that we're just waiting on a few clearances and features to just give the green light. And
Dope.
once that happens, it's gonna be fucking a rap ski.
Let's go.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Well, we really appreciate you guys being vulnerable and sharing all your stories. And yeah, like
Thanks
I said,
for
we
having
Yeah,
us.
thank you guys for
Thank
coming
you.
on, man. It's awesome having you.
All love.
Yeah.
Thank
So
you,
like the
guys.
video, subscribe, go check out Dubs if you haven't heard of them. They're pretty small. They'll get Say bye, miso.
Bye, Misu.
Miso soup.
Misu.
Miso. All right, we'll see you guys. Peace.